Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation. Candid discussion about addiction and recovery with the people who have lived it, along with input from experts on the journey from struggle to triumph. Laugh, cry, and be inspired. And now, your host for Recovery on Air, Kristen Day.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Recovery on Air, where we talk about the good, the bad, the miracles. Today, our guest, one of our own, actually, he sits on our board for Crossroads, and you are just an amazing man. After I started like really digging in and like learning about you, and when I came to the 35th annual anniversary for your PR firm, I was just like, oh my gosh, you've been through it. Gordon James, I'm so excited to have you on here.
Well, first of all, thank you, Kristen, for having me. But also, I want to just start right off by thanking the staff and all the people at Crossroads, because for the last 22 years, that's why I've stayed sober.
Right.
It's because I'm there all the time.
And
I have lunch there almost every day, and I call it my club.
Yes.
I go to my club.
Yes.
And I sit with my crew, and I just want to thank you all so much
we love you.
for getting me through this.
Absolutely.
Thank
So
you.
you just celebrated 22.
November 3rd. 22
Yes.
years.
Yeah, you're right in front of me. So just by a couple weeks. That's amazing. Before we get into all the great stuff, because you got a whole story in itself. Like, I just want to know, how the hell did you get to work at the White House and all that stuff? But moving up to that, before we get into that, we'll talk. How was childhood? What did that look like?
I grew up right here.
Okay.
I was, my mother married a sailor after World War II.
Okay.
And she moved with him to Salt Lake City, and I was born, and about 30 minutes later she got a divorce and moved in with my grandmother and grandfather and my great-grandmother at 7th Street in Monroe, believe it or not.
Wow.
And we lived there, and then my grandmother had this new single physician that she was seeing, Dr. James. She said, "Oh, are you single?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I would like to introduce you to my daughter." And that poor man didn't stand a chance. He and Dr. James adopted me. That's an interesting process. I've got all the paperwork.
Really?
And, it doesn't just happen. It
Right.
took a year.
It takes
done.
a while.
But that's where I was raised, right at 3rd Street in Glendale, and I went to
That's
Simon School
crazy.
and Central High School.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Arizona native.
Yep, my grandmother went to Phoenix Union, and my mother went to North, and I went to Central.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So when did drugs or alcohol, when did all that start taking place in your life?
I was an early starter.
Okay.
My father, my adopted father, who I never even knew I was adopted until I was in my teens,
Gotcha.
but my grandfather and my uncle were all alcoholics, and I didn't see anything. I thought that was just what you did.
Right.
And my buddies and I started in high school, and I was instantly
Hooked?
on board with it.
Yeah.
And my dad was worried about me, and he never said anything directly to me, but I could tell he was concerned. And,
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me. I
Right.
just kept right
You
on
just
going.
kept doing what you're
There were no
doing.
drugs.
Gotcha.
There were no drugs.
Thankfully.
It was all, thank goodness.
All
There were-
alcohol.
and I went to University of Colorado because they had 3-2 beer there. And you
Oh.
could drink that when you were 18. And I was a sink rat. I went to the sink on the hill right around the corner from where I was living, and I practically lived there and have a hamburger and a pitcher of beer
Wow.
pretty much every day.
Every day.
Yeah. And then I discovered Jack Daniels, and that was my poison.
I got you. So you went to college, and then how did you get into all your work?
So I got married in college, and my my wife was from Des Moines, Iowa, of all places, and so we moved there, and we had 3 of our children there, and I was in the. Are you interested about how I got involved with the presidency?
Yes.
So I had been drafted right out of college, and I got into a guard unit. And my commanding officer, after we were 6 years in the Guard, and after we got out, he called me up one day, and I was managing some real estate, and he said, "I've got a guy running for president of the United States." This was in 1977, 1978. 1978, he said, "Got this guy running for president. We need some office space, because Iowa has caucuses right off the bat."
Gotcha.
And I was written to all these candidates from all over, and I said, "Well, who is it?" And he says, "George Bush." I said, "Who the heck is that?" And then sometime later, we rented him the space, and sometime later, President came to Des Moines, and I met him, and it was love at first sight. But I had 3 little kids, and I couldn't really get involved too much. I had a job,
Gotcha.
and I was working, and
Was your drinking progressing while you were going through this?
and one of my drinking partners was a future president of the United States, George W. Bush. He was one of my drinking partners, and we would work for 12 hours, and then we'd go down and sit in front of the Des Moines Register print room and wait for the first editions of the paper to come off at 1 o'clock in the morning, half stoned. And if you'd have told me he was going to be president of the United States someday, I'd have said that isn't going to happen. But anyway, I in 1987, when we won and was vice president,
Right.
and I volunteered, and I was all over the place a little bit, and I was not doing a very good job at my regular work.
What was your
with
regular job?
I was in the real estate management business
okay.
for my family,
Gotcha.
for my wife's
Yeah.
family, and my father-in-law fired me because he said I didn't care anymore, which was
Okay.
true. And I walked across the street, and I had rented the George H.W. Bush campaign some space across the street, and I was unemployed for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I walked across the street, and they hired
And you
me.
got a job.
So he saved my life because
Gotcha.
I was drunk most every single day, and nobody wanted me, but he saw something.
So you followed him along. How long did you work for him?
Till the day he died.
Wow. That's crazy.
Which has been, believe it or not, it's been almost 8 years
Wow.
that he passed away.
Wow.
So he lived to be 93.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting into all of that, like, what was that like? And were you hiding your alcoholism? Like,
Oh no!
were you functioning to
Oh
where?
no, that was the culture.
Got you.
The culture. We were on the road. I did 65 countries. For both presidents, I did 65 countries, all 50 states,
Wow.
two out of 4 territories. I lived on the road. I lived in hotels.
Yeah.
And we would work for 10 hours, 12 hours, and then we get drunk, and then we get up and do it again the next day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
And that was just, it was a culture I loved.
Right.
We all did it.
Yeah.
There were a few that didn't. And then 33 or 4 years ago, W. got sober. And before he was elected governor of Texas, he got sober and was very open about it. And a matter of fact, if you read Decision Points or any of his biographies or autobiographies that he's written, he starts off with that
Gotcha.
in his very first paragraphs.
Okay.
And he tells about his sobriety, and I thought that was a pretty good idea. But it took me another 10 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I was on the road for W. I was in Davenport, Iowa, and I got very sick. And I had been in Iowa for my son's wedding. I'd flown back to Phoenix, and then I'd flown to Chicago, and I'd gotten sick landing. When we were landing in Chicago, and I was flying every day, so I couldn't figure out an air sick. That didn't make any sense. And then took off, and when we were landing in Davenport, I really got sick and had to run back to the bathroom. You know those little bags they have?
Yeah, the little puke
nobody
bag.
People put their gum in them. Well, I was actually used one.
Yeah. Oh man.
And,
what was making you sick? Were you just withdrawing from drinking?
No.
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 You had a flu
actually,
bug?
No. It was worse. So I went to work that afternoon, and then I went to work the next day. And then that night, I couldn't even hold down water.
Wow.
And I called Lisa. First of all, I called the White House nurse, and he said, "Oh, you just got a bug or something. Get some Pepto-Bismol or something." And then I called Lisa and I said, I got to be at work in the morning. I'm going to go to the emergency room and see if they can figure out what this is. And I was afraid to drive.
Yeah.
So I called a cab.
Wow.
And excuse me. And I said, "Will you please take me to
The hospital.
the nearest emergency room," which was just around the corner.
Yeah.
And he said, "You don't look so good." I remember paying him and going into the front desk and handing the receptionist an expired insurance card. And that's the last thing I remember for about a month.
Wow.
So I had flesh-eating disease, necrotizing fasciitis. It had nothing to do with alcohol. It
Wow.
was just fluke deal. Now, excuse me, the interesting or not so interesting part of this is that they put me in an induced coma, and while I was, I'm sorry, Kirsten.
You're good.
I went into multiple organ failure and I passed away.
Wow.
And I'm going to go back a little bit. And so
Yeah.
I went.
Mm-hmm.
And the physicians told Lisa that I had died, but for some reason, when I got to a certain point on that journey, I was given the option to either go with them, which was very pleasant,
Yeah.
or go back.
Wow.
And there was a prayer chain going around the world, and I felt this tug. I already had 3 more children, and they were staying at the neighbors.
Wow.
And so I decided to go back. Now, the interesting part about this is 4 days ago, I was with a young man who was a professional bicyclist. He was 16, getting ready, training for the Olympics as a bicyclist. And he and his coach were in a race, and they got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
And he passed away. And during this time, he was not expected to live. But he did. And this was 10 years ago. And you would never know anything happened to
Right.
him. But he kept saying during his presentation that there was some reason that he was okay to live.
Yeah.
And I've been asked this
Many
times.
For sure.
Well, did this change your life or your outlook on life? Did it give you a new mission? And I always say no. It upsets people because they think, well, you should have an appreciation, a different. And so I was talking about this with Lisa, my wife, after this event, and she said, "Well, you have changed." And I said, "Well,
How
I
so?
don't notice it."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, for one thing, you don't drink anymore."
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's kind of a major change.
It is a huge change.
But I don't feel like I have a new mission, a new purpose.
Okay.
I'm fine
Okay.
with what I'm doing. I'm blessed that I have 8 children, and they all talk to me, and
Grandchildren
8
and-
grandchildren, and our company is 35 years old. Lisa and I have been married for 34 years.
That's amazing.
We're partners in the business, which is weird in the first place.
Yeah. To work with your wife, for sure.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I
You
come
never
home
get
at
away
night.
from her.
I come, well,
She puts up
she
with
wants
you,
to get away from me
I was
because
gonna
I
say.
come home and she works a little bit later than I do, but and we'll have dinner or something, and then she'll be trying to watch her TV shows or doing her
Leave me
needlepoint
alone.
or something, and
Yeah.
she said, shut it down,
Yes.
shut it down. Tomorrow will come.
Yes.
Anyway.
So your whole life, I mean, you're drinking while you're doing the stuff with the president and everything like that. Was there ever times where the alcohol got in the way and you had consequences or anything to those?
and it's a miracle.
Yeah.
I never, when I was on the road or when I was at the White House, I never, so I could walk from my office in the old office building through the West Wing, through the mansion, through the East Wing, through the Treasury Department, and be at my stool at the old Ebbett Grill.
Got you.
You know,
Not have
inclement
to
when it was like
drive
today
or
and snow and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Not me, boy. I'd walk right through and but I was very careful because there were others that did have problems and that did have consequences and to this day, some people say, "Well, you weren't that bad." I said, "Well, you didn't."
You didn't know what was going on inside. You were masking all of it. You were hiding it real well.
I have a lot of friends that knew me back in those days and said, "Well, I don't remember."
So you weren't like falling down and
Not during oh yeah, but not during times when I was on duty.
Gotcha.
And or expected to be called in the middle of the night to do something, which happened when we knew something was up and we might be called into action. I'll tell you. I got sober November 3rd of 2003, and 2 months later, I was in Baghdad
wow.
on a long-term mission. Now,
What were you doing in
normally-
Baghdad?
I was working for the coalition.
Okay.
I worked for Ambassador Bremer. This was this was right after the invasion, and we were setting up the government, the new government, and this culture that was something that I would have relished in my drinking days. This was
Big.
this was the deal.
Yeah.
Even though it's a Muslim culture and they don't drink, there was a guy, we called him Alcohol Ali, and he had Molson's beer. Canadians loved Molson beer, and
Okay.
the Brits loved Molson beer, and he had cases and cases of this stuff he was selling to everybody. But here it was, 2 months sober.
Wow.
And I'm thrown into this deal, which is the same routine. 12
Right.
hours on, 3 hours hard drinking, 7 hours of sleep, back at work, 7
Back at
days a
work
week.
again.
And I was panicked. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I've been there about a week, and I found the Army chaplain because I needed real estate inside the palace where we were working, and I kept bugging him because I'd kick him out, and I got to be kind of friends with him. I said, I asked him, I said, do you know of any AA meetings here in the Green Zone? And he said, no, I don't know of any. He says, why don't you post something outside the mess hall? There are 3 mess halls. Why don't you post something out there? Friends of Bill,
Yeah.
Friends of Bill meet at 5 o'clock on Sunday in the rotunda of the palace.
So you
So I did.
started a meeting.
So I did.
I love it.
So I get there about 4:45. I'm standing there in the corner trying to be invisible. I'm looking around and I'm going, holy smokes, there's a whole bunch of people here that are looking for me. So that started our meetings, and we met every Sunday at 5 for 6 months, 5 months, 5 months, I guess. And we named it. It was called the Sands of Recovery,
Oh my gosh.
and it was generals all the way down to privates, contractors, men, women,
Look what you started.
all.
You know?
And we, as the weather, Baghdad weather and Phoenix weather are identical.
Gotcha.
Absolutely identical. Freezing
Dry.
cold. January and February and March it was cold.
Gotcha.
And then summer came in and it was hotter than heck.
Hotter
And so
than
we
heck.
started meeting out, and there was a big, beautiful pool, and there was a great big tree, and we started bringing those ubiquitous plastic chairs out and setting them up in a circle and meeting out there. And then we'd stand up at the end of the meeting and hold hands and say the Lord's Prayer. And people would be walking by me going, what the heck is
What kind of
going
cult
on?
is this? I love it. So did you ever go to treatment?
No.
No. You just went to
lucked out.
meetings.
My very first, I didn't, believe it or not, when I left the hospital in Davenport after I'd been there about a month, And my friend Stevie Eller sent her a beautiful plane to get me and took me home. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't read.
Wow.
I couldn't tell time. It just was a long recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what I did? And when I was leaving the hospital, the social worker came to talk to me and said, you know, you've had multiple organ failure, your heart and your lungs and your liver and your kidneys and everything shut down.
Yeah.
Said it'd probably be a good idea. And you went through withdrawal.
Right.
When you're in the induced coma, you can see,
Yeah.
you read the thing, it says, patient seems to be going through alcohol withdrawal. And
God. Thank God you were knocked out
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it, you know, because,
And I said, well, that's not a problem. So time went by, and you know, when you don't move for a month
yeah.
in a hospital bed, your body atrophies so fast you can't believe it.
Sure.
You know, every inch of skin had fallen off me.
Yeah.
It was just a wreck, but slowly but surely, and my neighbor would come get me, and he'd make me walk, and
Yeah.
get
you up
slowly
and
but surely. So guess what the first thing I did when I could drive?
Go to a meeting.
Yeah. And that lasted about, and I also had a big jar of Oxycontin. So the two together
It's great.
is terrific.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
So,
somebody might have said something to me, like Lisa
yeah,
might have said, you know, I don't think
Enough's
this is
enough.
a good idea.
yeah.
And I Googled AA, and I found a meeting, and the man that was leading the meeting happened to be a chef at St. Vincent de Paul, who I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know, this guy's got to be getting paid to do this, right?
Yeah.
That was the end, though.
Wow. And you started going to meetings?
Oh,
and,
man. I got to be just obnoxious about sobriety, just
Yeah.
obnoxious. If I was going to get sober, everybody was going to get sober.
Yeah.
You know? I wasn't going to be the only one on this boat.
Right.
You all were going to get sober.
Absolutely. You recover out loud so others don't have to die in silence, you know? And we look at me so that you can do this too. And what is, so recovery, I mean, obviously things aren't all rainbows and unicorns right away.
It was tough.
It was tough.
Lisa got jealous of AA.
Really? Because you were putting everything,
I was at 8 meetings a week, 9 meetings a week.
gotcha.
I was, it was just like everything else I'd done in my life. It's like running marathons. It was like working. It was
Yeah.
like everything.
It was your life.
Everything.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to get a balance.
Mm-hmm. And get it to where you could find balance with work and with your program?
And with my family.
Yeah.
And
So going through the steps the first time, I mean, did you get a sponsor and thoroughly work your steps, or did you go through them a couple times?
I'm going to be real honest with you. It's just part of the deal.
Yes, absolutely.
So I have this worthless sponsor. He got sober about a year after I did.
Okay.
He and I were together in the Bush administration in the same building.
Wow.
We've known each other for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
He gets sober. He goes to Wickenburg, to the Meadows, spends $40,000.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of money.
Gets sober, and I ask him to be my sponsor. We officed in the same building when he came back to Phoenix and I came back to Phoenix. We officed in the same building. We were this close. We gossiped every day about everything. I haven't talked to him in probably 6 months.
Okay.
But I will tell you how good he is. The other night, Lisa came home, and she'd been out with her girlfriends, and she'd had a couple of margaritas, and she was just chatty Cathy.
Cathy.
And I thought, oh man, that was just sounds great.
Yeah.
So out of desperation, I called him. This is like 10 o'clock at night. I called him and I said, Bert, I think I need to have a margarita. He says, no, you don't. He says, I want you to go in to the refrigerator and get the ice cream out and get a banana, make yourself a banana split and have that instead.
Yes.
And I had all the makings. I had the chocolate sauce and the whipped cream.
Yes.
And I did.
And
I
it
didn't,
made you
I
not
didn't have
think-
a drink.
Right. Come too far to give it up now, you know?
I tell that story all the time because he's, you know, your question was, did I work the steps? I'm not sure I can, after even 22 years, if you ask me what step 5 is, I can't tell you what it is. And I sponsor all kinds of guys, and the way I do it, and the way I do it is I'm there for you.
For sure.
And it seems to be good enough.
Yeah.
I tried, in the early days, I had a couple of guys, and I tried setting up meetings with them and doing step work, and they were bored and I was bored, and so the way I do it now is I'm just there,
Yeah.
and they know I'm there.
Be their support. Sometimes they need that, you know? I love, so you go to East all the time. You love Crossroads East, and I know the 12 o'clock is your posse, your group, you know? There's a lot of good sobriety there. What do you do to maintain your sobriety today? Staying connected.
I'm not sure I think about it much.
You think you're to a point that right now, like, obviously the obsession has been taken, you know? You don't obsess about it.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't want to test it.
I got you.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, you hear stories all the time of people who've been in long-term sobriety, and
For
then
sure.
I have one now, a man I'm working with now that, you know, was sober 10 years, and then he went from 0 to 100 miles an hour
Real
in
quick.
weeks, and now he's got, you know, 4 months or 5 months, and he's doing great. But you hear these stories, and it's just
For sure.
terrifying.
It is. I hear like the 5-year glitch, the 7-year, 10-year, 20-year. That's a big year, you know? So I've seen it myself being in here for 8 years. I've seen so many people go back out, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that, you know? I've come too far I believe that God has, you know, removed that obsession from me. So, yeah.
I hope that's true with me. The last couple of days, listening to this young man who had been so gravely injured and stuff, and kind of questioning, how come I got to be so lucky not to pass away 24 years ago?
Right.
Why am I still here? It's kind of a
'Cause you have
guilty feeling a little bit, you know.
But you have a purpose, you know what I mean?
Yep.
How did you get into being on the board and everything? I want to talk about.
Oh, I begged. So
You begged.
my sponsor was on the board.
Okay.
And, Lee Piowski was the chairman, was the president,
Yeah.
was the chief executive officer. And I knew Lee, and I said, I got to be on this board.
Yeah.
And in those days, in the early days when the model was self-pay and people had to have a job. And
It was a
all that,
halfway house, yeah.
I love that model.
Yeah.
The problem was it wasn't sustainable financially, and thank God for Lee Piowski. He was so smart, and he figured out changing the licensing and being able to accept access and Medicaid insurance was going to do it, and we did.
Yeah.
And so the model's different now. And I was on the first term, I think, for 6 years. And then in those days, there was a limit to how
Okay.
long you could be on. So I was off for several years. And then they asked me to come back. And I think I think I've been on ever since, and now we've dropped the requirement of tenure.
Got you.
We have a really terrific board that seems to be in sync.
Yeah.
And there have been changes. The detox center came and
Right.
went. We made numerous acquisitions during this time, Scottsdale and Chandler, and opened Arcadia.
Yeah.
Opened and converted that. We opened the flower. The flower was going to be women, and we just had no idea how to run a women's facility.
Yeah.
We just had no clue. And women have different issues than a husband
sure.
that's been kicked to the curb,
For sure.
and children and everything else and responsibilities, and we just had no idea. But now we have a terrific women's facility at
Yeah.
Extension. It's just wonderful.
It's a lot.
It's first class. And
Yeah.
I was out there the other day doing some stuff, and it's just humming.
I can only imagine being there every day, though. 102 women in there and getting them all together, like, ooh, it gets a
Well,
little
they seem to
crazy.
be doing fine though.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just visit with them. I visited with a lot of people that were living there, and they just seem to be doing great. And
We got to get you into the yoga and everything. Have you
Yep.
done the yoga yet? over there?
Not yet, but I do take hot yoga.
I was
do
gonna
that.
say, you do.
Yep. And I have a class Friday at 5:30.
I love it.
Anyway, I've seen a lot of changes, and I've seen Crossroads become financially sound, and I've seen, and during this last round of all the fraud with access and whatnot, I was so proud of Crossroads staff
sure.
for everything being in line and no questions asked and services rendered and being paid correctly, and it's just a relief. You've seen several close
Absolutely.
because they weren't
Yeah.
following the rules, and
Still,
still happening, and
I think we're going to be around for a while.
I think so too.
And I think we're going to, get better and better. And who knows, we might open more places and maybe seek some elsewhere.
We even went through this franchise phase where we were going to franchise our model around the country.
Okay.
And what we didn't understand was every state had different franchise rules,
They do.
and we couldn't comply
With all of
with
them.
all the rules.
Yeah.
And, but the Crossroads model, the peer support, and the way we treat each other, and the way we welcome people in, and the follow up work we do, and the outpatient work, this works.
It
People
does.
people ask me all the time, because they know I'm up to my neck on this stuff. They say, well, what's your success rate? And I said, well, we don't have any idea. We don't have a way to follow people long term, but we
Yeah.
can tell you this, that if they complete the initial 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then they go into our outpatient treatment, the odds are infinitesimally higher than the
Absolutely.
ones that don't complete it.
For sure.
And in any treatment center that tells you, well, we have 100% success rate, or we have a B-back deal where if you go out, you can come back free
Yeah.
of charge and stuff. That's a bunch of baloney. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just no way.
No.
So we were very honest about it and saying, if you're ready and you want to do the deal,
For sure.
your odds are pretty good.
For sure. What else did I want to talk about with you? I want to talk about your book too. I'm so mad at myself because I meant to grab it. It was on my kitchen table and I wanted to bring it in.
I should have brought one.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I finished it. I'd started it years ago, but it's just a story about my time with the presidents and working for 41 and 43, and the transition from government work into the private sector, and how I learned working for H.W. Bush, how I learned the value of hard work, how I learned that 8 to 5 doesn't cut it, and 12-hour days, 7 days a week are what it takes
Yeah.
to have your your own business. And they also taught me the public relations tactics and methodology, because I didn't have any
You didn't
idea.
have any idea.
I was in the real estate management business. I didn't know whether to commit suicide or go to work in the morning. So, and then, so that's what the book's about. It's about my initial meeting with him, and then the time I spent with him, and then with his son, all his children.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you were part of the family.
I was really close to 41 and with Barbara. Barbara loves Lisa James, and I'll tell a story about her. So, Mrs. Bush came to Phoenix, and Lisa was her staffer that day, and she picked her up at the airport, and they were riding in the back of the car, and Mrs. Bush said, "You want to see my toe? I had my toe amputated." And Lisa said, "Not really." And she pulled off her kid. She used to wear these mismatched kids.
Yes.
One color, blue and white, and different ones. And
Yes.
she pulled off her shoe, and sure enough, her toe was gone. And she had her toe
Wow.
amputated. So the kids started calling her Nine.
I love it. I love it.
But she was very close. She loved Lisa James, and so we really were close.
What made you want to start a PR firm?
So my boss was a man by the name of Sig Rogish, and he had he had left his company. It was called R&R Communications in Las Vegas, and he had left that company to go to work at the White House, and he was my boss, and he was an extraordinarily creative guy.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from him and others there, and we were at the Houstonian in Houston, sitting around the pool,
Drinking.
And I said, Sig said, "Hey," and Sig said, "Well, you need to think about what you're going to do. You can't do this forever."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I think I'll leave and start my own company." And he goes, "Well, that sounds like a good idea." And I said, "Well, I think I'll leave now." And he went, "Well, you can't leave now."
You're in the middle of something.
I said, "Well, December 1st, I think I'll leave." And he went, "Now?" And I said, "Now." And so, but I knew that I would have work from the administration.
For sure.
I knew that I would have projects that I
Yeah.
could work on and still volunteer and travel, and because I loved it.
Yeah.
And the big kids were all done. I was single, had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
When I think back on it, though, that was a pretty gutsy thing to do.
It absolutely was.
35 years later.
Right. And your company, like nowadays, I mean, you guys help a lot of people.
Yep.
You know, you inspire me. I want to start my own PR company for sure. You know, it's good. It's good out there. I love it.
Yeah, and I learned to use. It's changed at warp speed, as
Right.
you can imagine.
Absolutely.
With social media, and
For sure.
I mean, we do media hits with our phones.
Yes. All the time.
No big cameras and
Yep.
satellite trucks sitting out there. And you got to
Absolutely.
line up with a mountain and all.
Yeah. I love it.
Things have gotten.
The
And I love it.
technology
It's
today.
so fast and so quick, and you do a media hit, and it's on their website, on Channel 12's website now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not waiting till the 5 o'clock news
Right.
or something. It's right there.
Absolutely.
Clients love it.
How many clients do you have right now, do you think?
There's 30 something.
Okay.
We have about 6 pro bono clients
Gotcha.
that they hate it when I walk down the hallway and say I've been thinking, and I've got another one. I just took on another one, but it's most of it has to do with veterans.
Okay.
Almost all veterans.
Okay.
Those are the pro bono ones. But
Gotcha.
the commercial accounts are what make the payroll, and so there's about 30 of them, and then there's about 6 or 7 pro bonos and that's I spend an enormous amount of time working on the ones
Yeah.
that don't
For
that don't
sure.
make any difference.
For sure. Absolutely.
I love doing it.
I
love
love that.
veterans issues and helping veterans. You know, veterans are a whiny, needy bunch.
They,
Very whiny, very needy, entitled bunch. And I have to remind them that they have the best healthcare system in the world.
yeah.
And if they take advantage of it, it's a,
I remember reading in your book, you went to the Desert Storm when Desert Storm was going on. My dad fought in the Desert Storm. So when I went home that night and I was reading your book, I was like telling my husband, he's like, what are you so intrigued by? My God, like you're like manic about this. And I was just like my dad was in the Desert Storm and all of that. So like you being in there and all of the things, I'm like, oh my gosh. I can only imagine the life that you lived and the stories that you have to tell. So,
well, you got another couple of hours?
I mean, we got all the time you want. If somebody was struggling, what would you say to them about getting into recovery and getting into treatment?
So it's awkward. Sometimes it's not their idea. Most of the time it's not their idea. And maybe it's the judge's idea or their parents or their spouses. And so I have a couple right now that are languishing and not ready.
Got to take that first step.
It depends. Yeah, it's not easy.
I know.
And
For sure.
I tell them, I said, well, you know,
What do you have?
if
to
you're
lose?
ready, there are a myriad of ways to do this.
Absolutely.
And of course, I want them to check into Crossroads.
Absolutely.
I've taken people to Crossroads and had them beat me out the back door. You know.
It happens. It happens.
I'm you know, I very seldom. I have two right now. That one has 7 years, 8 years, and one has 4 months. That came to me directly.
Okay.
But I'm obviously very open about my journey,
Yeah.
and they came to me directly.
Okay.
But most of the people that are parents, they're worried about a kid.
For
or
sure.
worried about- and they want a solution. They're looking for a solution.
Absolutely.
One parent said, "Well, should I stop drinking around him?" I go, I didn't know how to answer that
Yeah.
question.
I mean, it depends on the situation. Like, yeah.
And then, of course, I've never heard anything, but most of the time it's a concerned neighbor or parent or something that calls and says my kid is been arrested or you know, he's just drunk all the time, or he's and of course now in this day and age, I mean, marijuana was a big deal when I was
Right.
you know, and when I was an MP, I was an MP in the Army, and that's about the only time I ever tried any marijuana. I didn't even like it. It was back in the days when you'd light up a joint. And
Yeah.
there were grasshopper legs in it.
Oh
and
my
stuff, And it
gosh.
just flame
All
up.
kinds of stuff.
It's a little different today, but that's never been an issue with me.
Let me ask, did any of your kids go down through addiction, anything? Thankfully.
So far as I know,
That's amazing.
one of my daughters was on a high school choir field trip and got drunk on the trip and was sent home. And the deal we made with the school was that she would go to AA meetings with me for several months. And Lee, we went to see Lee.
Yeah.
And then she did. She came and she went. I think she's fine. I have 8 children, and as far as I know,
None of them.
nobody has alcohol or drug issues.
Thank God.
It could be hidden, and I not know about it, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
No.
Well, I know how busy you are, and I appreciate you coming out here and sharing your story and just what you do. Like I said, you inspire me to maybe start my own PR company one day, or if I need a job, I can come see you.
So it's a great way to make a living, and
For sure.
I've enjoyed every minute of it. And
Do you guys have any big things coming up?
Probably.
Probably. You got them doing it.
I
though.
know that we have in a couple of weeks we have the big Child Help annual
Yes.
gala. I think that's February 17th, and we just one of the founders just passed away. Yvonne passed
I
away.
just
and,
seen that.
yeah.
Wasn't she at your 35th anniversary?
No, Yvonne and Sarah did not come.
Gotcha.
There was the PR team came.
Gotcha.
They were there.
I'm going to have Kathy coming on soon. I believe her name's Kathy
Her,
from Child Help.
yes, and Yvonne passed away about a week ago.
Gotcha.
And so they're in the throes of dealing with all that.
All
at the
that
moment.
stuff, for sure.
Sarah and Yvonne founded this 65 years ago,
Wow.
and they're active right up until.
Absolutely.
And Sarah's a horse. She's just 89 years old and just going all the time. And Yvonne was the same way. And
They're one of your good clients, too. Yeah, you guys have been,
we've been with them for over
For
25 years. So
I was gonna say.
we've been blessed to have some clients that we've had for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. Shea Holmes we've had for over.
how long have you been doing Crossroads?
Well, it's interesting how this all started, because I was on the board, and one day Lee called me and says he wanted to go to lunch. And I thought, oh, what's this about?
Yeah.
And he said, we want to hire your company to help. And that was a
Wow.
long time ago.
Wow.
I didn't know what he wanted.
Yeah.
And
You were like, what did I do?
I never pitched
Yeah.
our stuff. And
It all just
We've been there
happened
ever since,
organically. I love that.
well, and that's how our business evolves, as it's word of mouth. And
For
people
sure.
calling us.
For sure.
We try to stay in our lane. We don't do commercial advertising. We're earned media people, content developers, speech trainers, speech writers, crisis management.
Yes.
Woo!
That's a good one.
Lots of crisis.
Yes, absolutely.
You'd think just just normal corporate life, that wouldn't be anything. Oh my gosh.
It's a shit show.
CEO was arrested for DUI or
I
something.
love it. Yes.
There's all kinds of things that
That's
happen.
good stuff. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me. And if you are struggling and you need help, please reach out at thecrossroadsinc.org. Also, you can come down to our corporate office. It's 2002 East Osborne Road. We are open Monday through Saturday. We take all access plans and all commercial insurance. So again, Gordon, thank you so much for coming on. And with that, I'll pass. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation, with your host, Kristen Day. Join us next time as we continue our candid discussions about addiction and recovery. Listen 24/7 anytime to this or any of our shows online at starworldwidenetworks.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.